Hi everyone, welcome to the 14th episode of the Slow Spin Society podcast. As always, I'm Fabian, and today I'm with Paul.
Hi everyone.
And today we're going to be discussing terrible ideas and trends in the fixed gear community. But if you want to hear us talk about ultralight, sub 4 kilo road bikes, or the new limited edition Gravel Kings, or maybe even how to monetize your dank internet memes, then you should listen to the pre-show. You can access the extended conversation of the podcast at patreon.com/slowspinsocietypodcast, but more on that later.
All right, and I am gonna start with a strong one, a terrible trend that I think started in BMX, but slowly made its way into fixed gear, and it is oil slick parts. So like also called petroled parts. I think it just looks super ugly.
Yeah, I think I jumped into the whole, well, not really jumped into the scene, but I don't think I've ever seen this before. So, like, how does it work? Do they just pour petrol on the parts and let it dry or something, or?
I don't know, but you know it gives that effect when there is like petrol in a pool of water. And it
Like
has
the
like that
rainbow, right?
yeah, the rainbow effect. And I've seen bikes full of that. You know, like every part is patrolled. And it's just ugly. I just don't like it, you know?
Giving that like CS:GO knife, the CS:GO knife look.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the worst thing I've seen is I was on AliExpress and I was looking for dumb stuff, and I've seen disc brakes, and the title was Oil Slick Petrol Disc Brakes. And oil and slick is two words you don't want to see
Disc
next
brakes.
to disc brakes. Yeah, it's just no, don't do it, you know?
It's like, yeah, if you're washing your wheels and they have disc brakes on them, like the discs, and you kind of like fuck up, you put maybe some degreaser on even a tiny bit of the disc, you can like contaminate the entire thing. Like, not the best idea to fuck with that with
No.
oil slick or anything like that.
Also, full disclaimer about today's episode. Our opinion is our opinion only. If you have any of the parts or if you have any of the behavior mentioned in today's episode, it is completely up to you. We don't dislike you. We are fine with everything. It's just trends or things that we thought were something completely out of place or almost dumb, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you like your bike, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you ride it also, please ride your bike.
Yeah, just don't expect us to do the same.
No, you know, mine is on the wall and it's been sitting there for a few years now. All right. What is the next one?
Ooh, super deep aluminum rims. So are these the ones that are like that you can find on like the Instagram fixed gear brands where they have like, oh, you can get the same frame but with blue wheels, but with red wheels, or
Oh yeah, those are like usually super cheap.
yeah,
But you know those super colored wheels that are I think really attractive to people who just begin fixed gear, you know? They usually get dirty pretty fast and get ugly.
But I think like as well, if you think about customizing a bike, if you're not in like the bike scene, then you wouldn't even know what the crankset is or what the hubs are. You would only think about like the color and, oh, the rims are nice and pink, you know, shit like that. And yeah, I think it's more of like a beginner thing. I mean, I wouldn't say beginner, but it's a certain type of person that would, I mean, they just really care about having a bike and that looks cool, right?
Yeah.
I think that's fair as well. It's just not something, I mean, it's not something that I would do, to be honest.
Something that is not fair though is like some of those rims, they're like 90 millimeters deep. So a carbon rim that is 90 millimeter is already
Heavy, right?
super heavy. But when it's aluminum, it's like you have like a 2.5 kilo wheel, just one wheel, you know? That's crazy. And I've seen some people writing this, and I'm like, you must have the strongest legs out there because to spin those, oh my god.
But there's also that one company that makes them now, not 90 millimeters, but I think they're on Velomine. Mm, okay, I don't know, but they also make like colorful wheels, and they're not deep or anything, but like the rim is colored, and they look pretty okay. Like depending
Yeah.
on where it's put. I mean, again, I wouldn't do it, but they're not ugly or anything. Just it depends.
I mean, right now we're talking about like low quality ones
Yeah,
because, for example, you take like a Velocity Deep V
that's the
with
one. That's the
color,
one. That's the
it
one.
looks super banger, you know?
Yeah,
It looks so good.
that's what I was thinking of.
Especially, I remember like that image I've seen on internet. And you ever seen that image of like a super beat up Condell track? Like, I think it is the one that Amy Danger own right now.
Okay.
Like, super, super beat up. And that guy had Velocity, so Deep V,
Mm.
green ones that he rattle can paint black. And now, because of like, I don't know, like road gravel or everything, it scratches the rim, so it scratches the black paint and you can see the green underneath, and it just has that beat up super nice look, like so cool. And I'm like, god, this is cool. I like to do that, but you know what, it is not my idea, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, it just looks cool.
On to the next thing. So I think this is where I kind of started looking at bikes and stuff because I remember this, but ultra short risers. And
Yeah.
when I first bought my first fixed gear bike, so Dolan Precursor, it came with these, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? What am I doing with this?" I was like riding it for the first time. Like, is this supposed to be this way? Did they break off or something? It was not comfortable. It was pretty shitty to turn with it, and I don't think they looked good at all. And I mean, I've seen like the ones I had were like actual risers with grips on them, but I've seen people that just have like a small metal bar, like a metal tube between the
Yeah.
in the stem. And that's kind of, I mean, that's pretty like DIY. I mean, it's cool to think about like, oh, just using a pipe, but at the same time, I would never do that, and I don't think it looks good.
No, absolutely not. And it's like there is short riser and short riser. There is short risers that are uh the lengths between your shoulders,
Yeah.
so probably like 42 or 44, like an actual job bar. And there is like people that are just the place, they just have enough space for one hand on each side of the riser, you know and it's just, yeah, they're just like super super, like, yeah, it just looks small and not comfy at all. And
No.
yeah, I remember when people were writing that, and I was like, no man, that is that's not okay. And in my defense, I rode short risers too. I think I rode like 40s at some point, so like really short, so I've done it too. It was a trend at some point.
Gotta
But
conform
yeah,
to the trends.
need to follow the pack. uh but yeah, people were like, yeah, but because I have short risers I can fit anywhere, blah blah. And then just a little bit afterwards people were like, yes, but it is, if it's smaller than the actual size of my shoulders, the length between my shoulders, my hands are gonna fit between cars, but not my shoulders. So not my body, basically. So it doesn't work.
Yeah, wasn't really thought through all the way.
Yeah. But on that note, though, I've been riding on drops more often recently.
Nice, right?
Yeah, it's so nice. You fit everywhere. But
One of us. One
I've
of
been
us.
riding on wide. I've been riding on the wide risers so long that when I am on drops, I feel like my bike control is so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I need to learn again. Last time I was with Diego, and he was like, "Oh, it's actually not that way. It's this way." So he did like a 180 and just went the other way. I wanted to do a 180 too, but I almost crashed into a car parked in there
I
because
don't know.
with drops, I was like, oh my god, this is, I don't know, this is really small. It doesn't, I don't know.
It's like you just move your tiny pinky and boom, you're on the floor.
So yeah, I need to relearn drops.
At least now you know how to do it like 180 in the air, right?
Yeah, I've learned 180 in the air, and holy
Worst
shit,
case,
my
just
body
just do that
hurts.
like suddenly. It's that swinging.
On 25C tires, like, wow.
Yeah. So another thing that's written down here are like that's a bad trend or AliExpress tires. So AliExpress
Tires
is
that
known.
are not tires.
Yeah. So AliExpress is known for like selling cheap shit, and you basically know what you're getting yourself because nothing good quality it costs $1.50. But
No.
so some tires on AliExpress, right? They're like you said, they're not really tires. What are they?
So, it's like, it's not the usual tire when you have your tire and your inner tube. It's just one piece of rubber that you put on your rim. So,
Oh, like that,
one
yeah.
solid piece, yeah, one solid piece of rubber. They
So
make every color possible, and it's just, oh my god, it triggers me so bad. I've never seen them in real life. I don't want to though.
like I think they have them in some cities now as well in Europe, but in Singapore there's like a bike there was or there is a bike sharing service. So like there's like these bikes parked around, you have a QR code, you use the app, and then you can use the bike. And these bikes they didn't use inflatable tires, so like tires with an inner tube. They used I think what you're talking about, just like a piece of rubber. And the wheel is just like this big piece of plastic with like small holes in the middle to make it a bit comfy. But the general idea was that you wouldn't have to like ever repair it, or if it's flat, it cannot be flat. It always works.
Yeah.
But it's really heavy. It looks shit. It doesn't feel that nice either. But
Yeah, it
maintenance,
must feel like so like smushy.
yeah. And I think this is a good link to the next bad trend that is, or that was, or that is thick slicks.
It's still a thing, I feel.
Yeah, so these are generally sold with. I mean, I don't know what are they generally sold with, like pure fixes or like the really cheap like Santa Fixie bikes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, thick slicks. I think initially they were kind of a trend because they were just like thick rubber and you could skid on them forever. But at the same time, they're just super heavy. They have no grip on anything, and yeah, it's just a piece of plastic in the end.
I'm gonna put this out there, but they're plain dangerous.
Yeah.
You have no grips at all.
So
And I understand they are on beginners' bikes because it's easy to skid. And yeah, why not? But it's easy to skid, but you don't stop.
you just keep skidding until the end.
Yeah, it doesn't, there's no point.
And
And I don't know, like at some point they were super trendy. I've never been into those, but at some point everybody was riding six legs, and I don't know, they have that logo on the side.
yeah,
They are really recognizable. And yeah, why not?
but
I
like,
don't know. I've never really been into that. And I feel like a tire that has no groove at all just don't look that good.
no, it looks really like yeah, like it's not a complete tire. And
Yeah.
if there's like a tiny if someone like drops like some water on the floor, like spits on the floor, you can just slip on that and you just fucking wipe out. It's really
Yeah.
scary. I mean like yeah.
The entire city transforms into your bathroom floor.
Yeah. Step out the shower. Boom.
Yeah, it is shower time.
Yeah. But I guess people won't know how people won't know how these are until they've actually like tried different ones, different tires.
Yeah. But I heard they're pretty durable though.
Yeah. I mean it's just like a piece of plastic. It lasts forever.
Yeah. I think one thing that is, I would say, the heritage of Six Leg is, black mambas.
the the snakes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's also a tire made by BLB, and they are like super thick, super resistant, super like, yeah, like basically if you put it on the rim, and it's super hard to put on the rim because like those are crazy stiff and hard.
Yeah.
If you put it on the rim and you don't inflate it, you could think it is inflated because it's so hard already, you know?
Mm.
And so people are writing that because I think it's like $30 for a tire and it basically lasts forever. If you're a lot into skidding, it will last you like, yeah, so long. But I've seen people that ride that tire and they've rode it for a while now, skidding a lot, and it's a square. The tire is square now, completely square.
4 skid patches.
No, not square like that, like square profile, you know?
Okay. Oh, like the top part is just gone.
Yeah,
Ah,
the top part is completely squared. And yeah, it looks scary, but it's still there, you know? It's so durable and resistant to skidding. I don't know how much gum they put on top, but it must be a ton lot.
Should give a pair. They should sponsor Wolfbots.
Maybe he already rides those. Probably. And yeah, they are an absolute pain to get in and out of a rim because yeah, you need like
It's not flexible.
titanium thumbs to put it on there.
Then at least the next trend has nothing to do with tires, and that is the lack of bar end plugs. And I think most people have heard of like the myth or like the danger that if you don't have bar end plugs and you crash, you could like stab yourself with your bars and take out a piece of your flesh. And I'm sure that probably happened to someone. I mean, I've never seen it happen to anyone, thank God. But just because I also think it looks nicer if you have bar end plugs. That's why I always make sure I have bar end plugs. Except that one time, people in Discord may remember, but I posted a picture of my big block, and on the way while I was cycling, one of my bar end plugs fell out, and that was like a mistake. So I don't actually ride like that always. But yeah, I always have bar end plugs normally, and I mean you can even if you're missing one and you don't want to buy like new bar tape or bar end plugs, you can just use like a wine cork or something, and paint it black.
Yeah.
But yeah, seems like an easy fix for semi big risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have bar and plugs, you don't need to put uh tape, you know, to on your bar tape to finish it. You can just finish it into the end of the bar, put a plug in there, and yeah, it's not gonna move anymore.
It's much easier. Yeah?
But yeah, there's a moment I was riding without bar tape because I thought it was like super cool and you know like less is more, blah blah blah. And one time it was raining. I remember I had like carbon monkey bars.
Okay.
It was raining. I was going back home and pretty steep downhill. And, you know, I'm just getting my way through to not going too fast. And at some point, my hand slipped off the bar and I almost ate shit so badly. Like, I was like, okay, tomorrow I'm buying bar tape. This is a thing now. Because my hand just slipped, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know how I did not crash, but I was so lucky. And I was like, yep, bar tape is a thing now. I want bar tape. So yeah, bar ends and bar tapes. You probably want to get that at some point.
Yeah, like one of like the best 10 euros you could spend on your bike probably. Or the ones
yeah,
that have the
I totally get the less is more style though. I think people are really good to communicate that, but yeah, I feel it's just safer, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just an old man now since I'm turning 25, but but yeah.
Yeah, another thing is, so this is perhaps more, well, this is like a mix between parts and behavior that is like a bad trend, but on Reddit at least there was this one poster in the subreddit who was riding brakeless in a city between cars while using TT bars. And the guy didn't know how to brake while brakeless while using TT bars, and obviously he ate shit. And I think that's just something no one should be doing, brakeless and TT bars in a city.
I mean, you can have brakeless and TT bars, but just don't put yourself in the time chill bars in between cars, you know?
Yeah, like in the city, like I mean, it makes sense if you're going like outside, you're going fast or something. But
Yeah.
if you're going fast in TT position and you don't know how to stop suddenly, then just don't fucking do it.
Yeah. I've seen people doing that in Paris, and yeah, it just looks dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
There's that one guy in particular, I don't know his name, but I don't know who he is, but I've seen him in some group rides, and he has like TT bars. And what he does, and so let's say like a group ride, it lasts like an hour and a half, okay? During that entire time, what he's gonna do is go at the very end of the peloton, put him put himself into his TT bars, and then mash his way through everyone like full speed, you know?
Why?
And then break again, wait, go back to the end of the peloton and do the same thing. It is so dangerous, especially in a group ride. Like, if you happen to just, like, I don't know, avoid something and he's just behind you and he doesn't have the time to turn, he's just gonna crash into you full force with, like, the TT bars.
That's
It is
stupid.
so, like, that's just shitty behavior to me, you know?
Yeah, that's like the type of person you don't ride with in the group.
No, absolutely. I have no problem with people doing tricks in group rides and like I don't know, like doing sprints, anything. Really, you do everything. Everything is fine with me as long as you respect the safety of others, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But just using people in the group ride as I don't know, checkpoints to slalom between, it is not something I support by any mean. It
Yeah.
is super dangerous, and please don't do it.
Especially if you don't tell the other people about it first, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you do it once, people ask you to stop, and then you just, I don't know, man, it's just my thing. And you don't care, and you continue doing it. Nah, it's just nah to me. It
uh,
is, yeah, it's dangerous.
yeah. Um. So another thing that I think is more of a trend with new riders is that, of course, it's a good idea to have a break when you're new to fixed gear bikes, right? Or just in general. But
Yeah,
a bad trend is to have a rear brake, even though you could have a front brake. So just having a rear brake and no front brake, that makes no sense at all, especially with a fixed gear bike. But like in general,
yeah,
if the front brake has way more power than the rear brake, and on the fixed gear bike, if you already have a rear brake, so
yeah, kinda, yeah.
yeah, just having a rear brake, hand brake, and no front brake, it doesn't make any sense.
This being said, though, I can feel some people are scared of front brakes, you know?
Oh, because
Like if they
flying
have
over,
only
right?
one, yeah,
Yeah,
because of going over. If they maybe they think like, oh, maybe because I have only a front brake and I don't know how to skid, if I have to do like an emergency stop, I'm definitely gonna go over.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
I can get that,
yeah. I guess that's also like that's the one way to see it as well. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, if you need to fix gear riding, a front brake is just the better way to do it. And if you ever done mountain biking, you already know that it is almost impossible to fly over if you use your front brake and you just manage your weight placement
yeah.
on your bike.
Just like leaning back, right?
Yeah. So, because like when doing mountain biking, for example, you almost never use the rear brake because if you use the rear brake, you slam it, you start skidding, and then you're not stopping at all because gravel, dirt, and everything is just gonna make you slide like until the bottom, basically. So yeah, front brake is way more usable, way more effective, and if you know how to place your weight on your bike, you should like no problem. It should be all right.
Yeah. And another thing related, so this isn't the list. This isn't on the list, but something that just popped in my head is, I think like, Paul, you would know about this more than I do. But for example, in Japan, you need to have two handbrakes by law, right?
Yes.
And I've seen some pictures of people that attach their handbrakes. They attach it to like their seat post or something, rather than.
I've done that.
And I think that's so stupid, though. Like,
It's a suicide brake, and so by Japanese law, you need two two brake levers
yeah,
and two brake calipers. So,
they don't
for
have to
example,
work.
having a front handbrake and having a rear coastal brake
Yeah,
doesn't work. It is not legal. So, suicide brakes is like your front, like you make your brake cable as short as possible, and so you have like your front lever on the down tube and your rear lever on the seat post, and it's doable with NGS frames because they have such thin tubing, you know. But it is just yeah, it's stupid, but you can ride basically with you're riding brakeless because like to activate your brakes when it's on your seat post, it's just a bad idea, you know. And so yeah, it's like riding brakeless, but legally, you know.
yeah, and that's kind of like what I mean. Like, if you're going through all the hassle to install cables and brakes and calipers, and you might as well just have them on your bars, right?
You know, it's the cool factor. Sometimes you just want to be cool by saying, "Oh yeah, I have brakes. I'm legal, but I'm not using them." And you show everyone you're not using them because they're not usable.
And then everyone starts clapping and gives you 100 euros.
Absolutely.
You're like, bam, have my kids. uh, yeah, okay,
the
so.
next one, the next one is something that triggers me, and it is having a high column of spacers on your fork, but a really negative angle stem. So I'm not talking about minus 17 degrees when your stem is just parallel to your top tube.
Yeah.
I'm talking about minus 30 degrees, you know, when you have like super steep angle, but you have like a ton of spacers. So it's basically having a straight stem.
Yeah, it's really counterintuitive. It doesn't makes no sense.
It makes no sense. I feel for some people it has like a certain style and people like it, but yeah, it doesn't make sense, you know. I've seen people like keeping a lot of spacers just because they're like, oh yeah, man, I don't want to cut the steer tube too short because if I resell my bike,
Hmm.
I can understand that. But if you're the one riding the bike right now, just enjoy it and cut it the right size. Especially if you have like a lot of spacers above your stem, it can be like so dangerous if you crash.
Oh, above your stem. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. On to the next one. We're going really fast, but
Well, I mean, we still have quite a lot.
there is a lot to talk about. Turns out there's a lot of terrible things into cycling that happens.
This one might not be fixed gear specific, right? This is just
No,
okay. So, yeah, clipless sandals. And I mean, I wrote this down because I saw like this picture of someone who made clipless Crocs, and I thought that's a horrible idea. And that
which
what
is the biggest power move ever.
yeah. Clipless Crocs. And then I was googling more, and there are actually like proper sandals made with like a clipless system. So I mean, maybe that works better, but at least the clipless Crocs or clipless flip flops or whatever, I don't think those are a good idea because like you're just gonna destroy the sandal before you destroy the cleat.
Yeah. Clayless sandals. I've seen people using them for bike touring,
Yeah,
and I mean, there's definitely demand for this, you know.
yeah.
I've also seen Austin Ors. If you don't know Austin Ors, legendary messenger in Brooklyn or New York. Um, I think first ever rider sponsored by Brooklyn Machine Works, and he has that giant Brooklyn Machine Work BMX in his place, which is basically the length of a bus.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've seen him use those just for like, you know, casual riding in summer times.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd like to try those.
Don't forget to wear the socks.
Linus Tech Tips time.
Yeah, I think it's mainly for like people that go bike touring or something who are not like skidding or pushing 1,000 watts or anything. It's just like casual and open air. I mean, seems fine as well.
Yeah,
At
the
least,
time I saw him using them though, he was on a free gear, a
mm,
single speed free gear with a brake, with front brake, yeah.
yeah, that makes sense as well. Then just don't do it yourself, like Crocs or
No.
something.
On to the next one, and yeah, it is also not figure related, but there's weird bottom bracket standards. So most of fixed gears are English thread, so like normal thread bottom bracket, and it's durable, bomb proof. There's so many out there. You can have them in square taper, holotech, octalink, everything. There's a lot out there, and it has been the industry standard for years. But people thought it was a good idea to do, I don't know, press fit, for example, which is, I think it's almost dead in 2021 because nobody want to do press fit anymore because people know it is not durable now. And Italian threading, fuck Italian threading. Especially if you don't know your friend has Italian threading and you try to fit like a normal bottom bracket and you're like, oh, it doesn't fit. Or even worse, you fuck the thread and then yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know why there's like so many weird standards in like yeah uh, bottom bracket, like even like Spanish bottom bracket are, you know, they come from BMX, and yeah, they're just a pain. So yeah, I mean, English threading bottom bracket, they would just work, you know, they work great. Why not keep that and forget about the rest? I understand people want to make progress and create new things, but it works good. Let's just skip it, you know?
yeah. I mean, I don't really have a comment on this because I have no idea. I don't have any idea about bottom bracket standards. I'm like, okay, I agree with Paul. Fuck press fit.
I mean, bottom bracket, it's part of those things, you know, when it's part of like bottom bracket and headset sizing that a millimeter of difference can completely fuck your frame.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is just a pain, you know, because you just never know which one is the good one. And yeah, I don't like those.
I heard people say that like if if one wants to restore an old road bike, they should stay away from old French bikes because those have like really fucked up standards
Yeah,
still.
they have like French threading that is again different from English or Italian threading. And yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't know, like it worked fine. Why do Italians and French have to say like, "Oh, let's make things different," you know?
Just to have their own name on the standard,
Let me
right?
stick my baguette into this and yeah, we'll make a different thread. No, just keep the old one. It was working good, you know?
Yeah. And it's nice if like if all the parts were interchangeable, but now there's so many different standards for everything, right? So no one can agree
Yeah.
like, okay, just use this headset type, use this bottom bracket type, and then boom, bada bing, bada boom, done.
Yeah, and for example, for like press fit bottom brackets, installation and maintenance requires special tools. You can't do this at home and you need to go to bike shop, blah blah. But normal bottom bracket, they're just like standard tools. Everybody has that and you can maintenance them yourself and it's not that complicated as long as you follow the good instructions. So sometimes it's just the bike industry that wants
Yeah.
to move forward, but they're actually going backward, you know. It's just not user friendly.
Okay, so the next trend, and this Yeah, this is kind of also a thing with new fixed gear cyclists. It's the lack of foot retention. And I mean,
Yeah,
there's some
some people
people,
just
yeah,
don't.
some people they have one strap and that's okay, sure. If it works, it works. But then there are people without any straps or any cages or any clipless system. They just have flat pedals. But bro, I go slow and nothing ever happens. It's fine. But something's gonna happen eventually. Like it just
Yeah,
takes a rainy day and your foot to slip, and you will just like eat shit.
yeah, not a good idea. I'm gonna put, okay, unpopular opinion time.
Oh no.
I think at some point, if you're already an experienced rider, not as an everyday thing, or I don't know, just I don't know, unpopular opinion really, but sometimes if you don't have foot retention, so I don't know, let's say like you have your Sunday bike and it is SPDs, okay, and you're too lazy to put your SPD shoes on, so you're gonna go to your local coffee shop with normal shoes on SPD pedals, so basically no foot retention, right? It kind of forces you to have that flow, you know? You're not riding fast, but you know stopping is not ideal and possible at that point. So you just, I don't know, it forces yourself to like, I don't know, like we said before, but look 20 seconds into the future and force you to have that really, really smooth flow between cars. And I don't know, at some way it just looks nice. And when I'm saying that, I'm thinking about Style Life Studios. Sometimes he put out their videos of that guy on, I think, a MASH, AC2 frame or Parallax, I don't remember. And he has no foot retention and he's jamming down New York traffic. And he just like, it's beautiful to see because it's like a fish going along a river. It's just so nice, he's not stopping, he's just like going a little bit slower and then accelerating a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, it maybe it just can improve your flow.
Yeah, you weren't right about the unpopular opinion. I think this is like, I mean, I think this is like you cycling without handlebar tape. You know, it can just be out of your
Yeah,
control, and if your foot slips, you cannot do anything.
yeah,
Like at least with the handlebars, if your hand slips, you could maybe somehow still catch it. You have two hands, but if your foot slips, the pedal will keep turning and will fuck you in the back of your leg. And yeah,
I mean, you definitely need to know how to bail, jump out of the bike and say okay, bye bye.
yeah.
But I don't know, I just think it's a cool move.
Oh
uh
yeah.
it's a cool move, just don't do it. Like, let people with the cool factor doing the cool moves. uh yeah, don't do it. I would not ride something without foot retention for more than a few kilometers, but yeah, like for example, okay, for example, people in the our Discord server knows that, but last Monday, uh, I went to, it was like 40 minutes outside of Paris by train to buy two frames. And one was just with parts, all separated. And the other one was already complete as a complete bike. And I went and I bought both, and come back to the train station. And I decided to go back home. It is, I don't know, like a 10 minutes ride. And the bike I was riding had no foot retention. And I had my really, really big backpack was inside the frame, the wheels, everything to build a bike, right?
Yeah.
So I had no foot retention and I went back home like this. And it is just, like you need to focus and you definitely going slower because, I mean, foot retention, the fact that you cannot pull on your pedals, makes just you go slower.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know. You have that feeling. I had that feeling of super smooth ride. And if I really needed to brake, I was gonna do like I would do a Ted Shred move, just foot brake and jam my foot in there. But I don't know, it kind of has like a special feeling. I am not telling audience, listen to me. I am not telling you should do it. Please don't do it because I don't want to have any deaths on my conscience. But I don't know, it was just a different experience. And when you always used to have like that foot retention and know you can skate at pretty much every time,
Yeah.
every moment, not having this and having your mind like hyper focus kind of makes for a different feeling.
Hmm.
That was my unpopular opinion.
All right. All right. All right. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense what you say. What's the next thing?
The next one is riding a dented or a cracked aluminum frame.
Okay. So yeah, if your aluminum frame is cracked, it's pretty much dead, right?
Yeah, you don't want to ride that. I mean,
No.
you can't even ride that.
No.
But if it's a small dent, I feel it's okay.
Yeah. If it's a small dent, it's okay. But if it's like a bigger dent on, I don't know, let's say like the down tube or something, I don't think I would ride it then anymore.
Yeah, and if it's like a middle-sized dent, but on like the seat stays or the chain stays, especially the seat stays, I would not do it.
No.
Because like those take so much force when you're skidding sideways.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want that.
So especially, so if it's cracked, no, it's dead. If it's dented, then yeah, you have to see. But
If it's cracked and you have someone that can repair aluminum around you, you can always try, but it's not really meant to be durable. Like
no.
repairing aluminum hasn't really been a thing.
So yeah, I was reading about that, and apparently, like if you repair aluminum by like welding it again or something, it actually makes it even weaker than before.
Because you create a stress point.
Yeah.
Because that part, like a frame made of tubes, like the force you put through it just flows through the tubes,
Yeah.
And if you weld a little crack, it interrupt that flows, and the force, it just gets stuck in there in that exact point. So yeah, it makes it actually like not weaker, but doesn't make for a good ride. But I mean, like if you have like a, I don't know, like a 5 millimeter crack into your brand new nice aluminum frame and you want to repair it, then I mean, I wouldn't be mad for that. Just I would try too. I remember there's that guy who bought a candle track for extremely cheap in Japan, and the candle track had a dent at the top of the seat tube, so you couldn't insert a seat post in there. So everybody was like, yeah, it's dead. It's not happening anymore. And the guys send it to Ganwell, the Japanese frame maker. And so Ganwell does NGS frames, does carbon frames, and also aluminum frames. And they actually repair it for him. I don't know how, but yeah, they actually repaired it. They just like, it was not a nasty bend, so I guess they just bulge it from the inside.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, have you ever heard about that technique when if you have a lightly dented frame, if you have a freezer large enough, you fill it with water and you put it in the freezer, and it might just bulge it from the inside with the water transforming into ice.
Okay, first, who had a freezer big enough for a bike? And second, I don't know if I would do that.
It's just something I wrote on the internet, and I was like, I'll
I
probably never try that, but
I saw
maybe.
like, yeah, I thought you were gonna say something else because I saw this trick with like cars, where if your car has a dent, you can put like like a dildo with a suction cup. You stick
Oh,
it to the
yeah.
dent and then you pull it and you pull the dent out. So I mean, sure.
Yeah. It's so impressive because car paint now, it's so flexible,
Yeah.
Sometimes it has a dent and the paint is just intact, and you put it back together and the paint is still intact, and yeah, that's crazy. All right. Moving on to the next one, Fabian.
So the next thing is killing new ideas. So this is a this is a bad trend I think in cycling, the cycling like field as a whole, where people are kind of opposed to new things entering the field. Like I mean, some can be justified, some cannot be justified. Like press fit bottom brackets, for example, that's a new thing. People are against it, or Paul at least. Or disc
Yeah,
brakes.
fuck CrossFit.
Disc brakes. That's really like love it or hate it type thing. People either like save the rim brakes forever, or they love disc brakes. But
Yeah.
and of course we're talking shit about like half the trends in the cycling in the fixer community, so we're also kind of like perpetuating one normal bike, one normal way people should do shit. But yeah, we're not really like authorities on making trends, of course. But I feel like
Yeah,
cycling in
absolutely
general,
not.
like with like Instagram and social media, people like talk shit about certain things, and they just want the same thing. They just want to talk shit about other things as well, right? New things.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember when people thought splatter paint was the ugliest thing out there, you know? And now it's everywhere.
Squid is like, hold my spray can.
But yeah, I mean, I've done that too, you know? Sometimes I was like, yeah, no, that's new, fuck that. And in the end, it's like, oh, it's actually pretty nice.
I
You
like,
know what? We talked about it in the pre-show, but color tires. So before I was like, that looks ugly as hell, and now I'm looking at the Gravel Kings, and I'm like, I understand why they out of stock because it looks so good, you know?
yeah. So, yeah, I think these things will always be in most like hobbies, but they just evolve over time, right? Like what
Yeah.
the main group, or the majority likes and doesn't like. I wonder what is out there right now that people are kind of making fun of, but might be a next big thing type thing. Like I can't think of anything right now.
Me neither. I don't know. Magnesium bikes.
Yeah, I mean those are pretty cool though. I think only one company in the US makes them though right now.
Yeah, because it requires like super super special equipment.
Yeah,
I think magnesium is actually, it's not as hard as titanium to work with, but you need like pretty specialized equipments.
yeah, and they're supposed to be like as light as carbon, as stiff as titanium, and really cheap to make. Like really cheap, as in a full bike will be like 1,700 or something, because there's so much magnesium in the world.
Oh, you know what? That's one. People who write carbon frames and people in front of them that are always gonna say, nah, bro, steel is real.
Yeah, like, that's the thing as well. Steel.
That's one thing. That's one there.
I mean, that's like a really big fixed gear thing as well, because there's like bikes with like 11 gears and bikes with like disc brakes and stuff, and then the fixed gear community is like, "Fuck you! I'll use my one-speed bike that cannot even stop pedaling." Like stuck in the past a bit. So
Yeah, I think fixed gear is a part, you know, especially it. Okay, it's in the list. It's a little bit more down there, but I'm gonna do it now. Um, I feel like cycling, especially road cycling, but it also work for mountain biking and that sort of thing, gravel cycling too. It becomes and it's becoming more and more elitist. Group sets are through the roof in price. Frames are less and less affordable. And I don't know, like everything seems to be more and more expensive.
yeah,
And I don't know if you follow, for example, influencers on Instagram or whatever your favorite social network, they ride with like full sponsored products and they have like crazy bikes, crazy setups that are worth like tens of thousands of euros. And they're like, oh, I'm just Mr. Anyone. I'm just riding my normal bike in my normal forest. And no, you're not. It's like 10K you're riding right now.
Just riding my bike through my sixth floor mansion, just like you guys. But yeah, I think like cycling, like historically and even now, it's just very homologous like group. It's always and cycling in general has like a very high entry like cost of entry to have like all like the helmet and the bikes, the parts and everything is just very expensive. So in the end, it's mostly just gonna be like 60-year-old retired white guys that have like Cervelos and shit, and then they will be the
Yeah.
ones looking down on people who have like a Walmart bike or wherever. Like if you look at like Tour de France, it's all just the same type of guy copy pasted 100 times,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I was actually talking about that today, but I think this is also why fixed gear is having a comeback right now, because with the world pandemic and etc., more people started cycling, and then cycle sales went through the roof, and everything is sold out. And what is left is fixed gear.
yeah,
And I think some people got into fixed gear for that reason. It's like, oh, I just need something simple to get me from point A to point B, or just to have a little bit of fresh air and go cycle outside. But I was talking about that today. The difference between a tractor ace crankset and a road one. You can have like a tractor ace crankset from the 90s, and it's still relevant and compatible today on any fixed gear basically, and still going strong, and it will probably outlast you. Dura Ace crankset today, people are complaining because they're breaking them so often, and Shimano is like, wait a minute, Dura Ace is for pros. Pros that are gonna change their crankset every season,
yeah.
so it is meant to break.
It's dumb. And then they sell Dura Ace at like regular bike shops, right? To regular people.
Yeah. So I think that's why cyclist is becoming like more and more elitist. It's like we're at the point that even crankset are something you consume.
Yeah, and it's just, and especially with fixed gear, it's just there's less of like one way to cycle, one way to build your bike. And if you're in the peloton like pro racing, it's always like carbon rims, Dura Ace, Di2. It's always the same thing. But in fixed gear, you can just do whatever you want, and it's much cheaper. Like a Di2, the Dura Ace Di2 group set is what, like $1,500 or something. You can build like 3 bikes with that. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Do you even eat that, bro?
Oh yeah, eat that, the new cheap one. Well, yeah. So I think that's one. I mean, like elitism is like a big problem. I think in many communities, like mechanical keyboards, cycling, classic cars. Shit like everything. It's a plague.
And yeah, that's my favorite part about fixed gear. It is affordable. Everybody can get into the hobby, and as long as you're safe, you shouldn't have any problem really. You're
Yeah,
definitely gonna eat cheat at some point, but yeah, it'll be fine.
definitely. Another bad trend, I think. So someone brought this to my attention on the Discord, but there is a person. I'm not going to name names, of course, but there's a person on Instagram who's destroyed 2 or 3 Candle track frames with their style of writing. So I think if you already break one, that's insane already. But if you break a second one because of the way you ride, whether it's like tricking or just like jumping stairs, whatever, I think that's a really dumb thing to do with frames that cannot be made again. You cannot
Yeah,
you cannot just have another C track. It's just there's a limited amount. So
yeah, we talked about that
yeah, it keeps coming up.
previously.
But yeah,
Yeah, but it keeps coming up. Yeah,
but then yeah, this one person said that there is a person who has owned 2 or 3 and destroyed 1 or 2 of them. I think, like, come on, dude.
I feel there's a really really fine line between having style writing a vintage frame set and, yeah, I'm gonna say it, I'm sorry, but being completely stupid and destroying it on purpose.
Yeah, like I mean, there's like the guy in Berlin, Datos, who has his candle track and he does tricks and he's good with it and like he doesn't suddenly like fucking crash it or anything. So like, sure,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but he's being careful enough because he knows his skills. But
And he knows. I feel like like Maddie Datos on Instagram knows how to trick good enough to not break stuff. um, but yeah, some people just think it is cool to destroy a piece of history, and yeah, I am not okay with that.
it's a very, very stupid flex.
Yeah, I feel like people sometimes in the vintage car community does the same. You know,
Like, how do you destroy
the
a car like that? You go too fast or
yeah.
something?
Have you heard about what's that rapper name?
50 Cent.
Travis Scott. Yeah,
Okay.
Travis Scott. So Travis Scott bought a pristine old school BMW M3.
Okay.
It's like cars. So the M3, the vintage M3 is already like super expensive right now. It's like a collectible car. People want to have it. It is in that trend of like um 90s cool cars. Anyway, and he bought like because he has I mean he's a rapper so he has a lot of money. So he bought like one of the cleanest M3 on earth. Really like clean title, like interior pristine, paint pristine, engine pristine, low mileage, everything super good, right?
Hmm.
He customized it to look like a rally car and be in his video clip, you know, in his
Music video. Yeah.
music video. And people got so mad at him for ruining it, you know? I don't know if what he did was only mods that can be removed, you know? Maybe it's not paint, it's just a wrap on top of the paint, and I guess it's okay. But people lose their shit because it was so clean and now it just looks like a random BMW M3, and he could have done the exact same thing with something that would cost him way less money and was just a better option, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and we might sound like purists or something. Like, oh, you have to keep it period accurate. Don't use it. It's made of gold and
Nah, dude,
But
I don't care if you
no,
don't have like Campagnolo parts on your Italian
yeah,
frame set.
it's just like a basic like decency when dealing with this type of thing, like candle track or whatever. Like it is a piece of history in the end, and we're not telling you. Like I'm not saying that should put it in a glass box, but at the same time, if you're writing it, preferably you wouldn't write it. You would just like maybe write it once a weekend or something when it's perfect conditions and everything. But that's just
Yeah.
me. But don't go out there trying to test its limits and break it.
I mean, we talked about it last week, but Fixie Carl had an unfortunate crash
Yeah.
with his one-on-one Eddie Merckx, and yeah, it was a one-on-one. It was a one-off-one. It's dead now. That's sad, but you know
Is
what?
it?
It's not like he was trying to crash it.
No.
You know. So shit happens. It's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, that's like also part of its history, I suppose.
Yeah, that's part of his story. Yeah.
But yeah, rather it something like that finds its end of life being ridden like semi properly rather than being tricked on by someone who's careless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next one, and that's a pretty funny one because if you see image of this on the internet, it usually looks so DIY and so bad. It's called DIY Drillium. Can you give us an explanation on that?
So I think I'm not sure exactly from when this is, but drillium is like a type of style when you drill holes, a bunch of holes into components, either for style or to lose weight or both. And typically these parts come like you can buy them already, like
Yeah.
pre-drilled, but then people do it themselves as well. So
And they do it in a really irregular way.
yeah.
So you have different sizes of holes, and it's all over the place. It just looks bad.
Yeah, okay, so apparently the drillium started or popularized in the 70s by no one else than none other than Eddie Merckx, weight obsessed Eddie Merckx. So
Yeah.
yeah, there is a style to it. There is like a method to it. Like a certain pattern you do. But if you do it yourself, you don't know what you're doing. It's just gonna look like someone stole some of your material or something like that. Like put holes in it.
Yeah.
There's a YouTuber, rides in Japan. Like the guy who lives in Japan. He has like the super ultra lightweight bike collection. And I think in one of his videos, he also tried to like drill holes into his THM carbon crankset and like carbon everything just to make it a bit lighter.
Like a clavicula? A THM clavicula?
Yeah, I think so. So
he tried to drill holes into that, but it's carbon. Don't do that.
So I'm not sure if it was that or like something else. Maybe it was like a ball cage but he was drilling holes into carbon shit.
Oh no.
To save weight, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do this ever. I don't recommend people to do this, at least with like aluminum or carbon or God forbid titanium, but I mean, it will. There's not a big chance that it will look good. I don't think it even looks good when Eddie Merckx was doing it. I think it looked really funky.
Yeah, it's like it's a way to lose weight, and the way Eddie Merckx did it was actually pretty clever. And one day, if you guys want, we can have like an entire episode about the history of like the hour record and how Eddie Merckx is really close and really deeply connected to that discipline. But yeah, Trillium is just something that it was probably okay in the 70s, but now like like things are CAD in 3D and like concept for years before getting released. I don't think you can actually save weight by yourself your little DIY way. Like we literally now we have AIs doing parts for us. The most impressive and efficient way to do them, and 3D printing shit, and it just looks like crazy.
And then
people are still trying to drill it.
Yeah, Fixie Fred at home. She's like, oh, the drill go brrr, and then just holes. This saves weight. But
just saves weight.
Just drill holes into tires.
Yeah. I think it's bespoke chain rings in Australia. He has a Drillium chain ring, and it has like so many holes in it, and it looks really good. It's a good looking chain ring, and yeah, I mean, bespoke chain rings in general are good looking.
Yeah, except that one. Just need to knock them off the potential sponsor list. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Drillium is like either love it or hate it as well, I think. I'm not for it though.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Okay, last one.
So yeah, aero spokes and plastic rims. So different shit. Aero spokes, fiberglass, and other rims. I'm talking about like 2 or 3 or 5 batons wheels that are plastic. So actually, I checked that afterwards, and yeah, it's not plastic. While I was staying, I was like, yeah, plastic sounds a little bit weak for a rim, so I don't know. But yeah, so apparently it's an alloy of aluminum and magnesium, but it is still like dead heavy.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, they're cheap, but like they're super heavy and they're not that good looking. But people that really want 3 spokes, they can maybe buy that, But Aero spoke, even if it looked cool and maybe it's doing a comeback, I don't know. At the really bottom of it, it was just a dumb idea. It's like super heavy, and I mean, it is. If your hub is dead, your entire wheel is dead. I mean, it can't come out of true because it's one solid piece of fiberglass.
Yeah.
But it was so heavy, and I don't know. At the base of it, it was just I don't know. I don't feel it was like a good idea. You know what? It is part of the culture now, and I'm glad it is. And yeah, at some point, I definitely wanted an aero spoke, and it was the coolest thing ever out there. But thinking back of it, I'm like, nah, not aero spokes.
What counts as a plastic rim?
I mean, it's just like I was talking to that guy in Paris, and he had like that 3-spoke plastic rim. And I mean, I don't know if it's plastic or aluminum or anything, but anyway, it's not carbon fiber, and it's just here to imitate 3 spokes carbon fiber. The wheel itself was 2.4 kilos.
It's like
2.4 kilos.
what we were talking about that earlier in the podcast. A wheel that was the deep aluminum rims, right? Also like that weight.
Yeah. So that's that's not for me at least.
Nah, same.
And yeah, one thing I wanted to bring, because I think it's hilarious, is 2 spokes.
Two spokes.
You've seen those?
I think so.
Yeah, 2 spokes.
Where it's just like one straight thing
Yeah.
to the middle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It looks weird.
It looks
Looks
cool.
weird. You think it looks cool? I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't like it at all.
Safe 9 watts. Fastest wheel ever, apparently. 9 watts. But I think it looks pretty cool. Like I want to see how it looks like when it's spinning, though.
Nah. I've seen one in real life, and it's a big nah for me. From an engineering point of view, how can it be good to have like 2 points of pressure and none other? You know? I mean,
Wow.
I guess people in the 90s said exactly the same shit about 3 spokes, like how you can have only 3 points of pressure and none others. But yeah, I don't know. It's just style wise, it just doesn't work for me.
I mean, I'm never gonna have one either. I'm curious. I want to see it. I think no, I've never seen one actually. But yeah. But if it's like a fast forward wheel or something, like a real rim, like carbon rim or something, I think it's whatever. It's just style difference. But if you're having like a heavy 2-spoke, 3-spoke, plastic heavy aluminum rim or something, I think nah, never mind then.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather save money to buy the real deal, even if it's a Chinese copy, because I know carbon wheels are expensive. But buying a plastic one just, yeah, I mean, for me, it doesn't look good, you know? It doesn't look good. And you can have like the nicest bike out there. You put that on, you slap that on, and it just looks cheap instantly. But if you buy like or you build a nice pair of normal wheels with like normal spokes, at some point it can look premium, you know?
That's true. At some point, yeah. What point that is, I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna stop shitting on people's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got offended during this episode, I'm sorry, but not really.
Make sure to give us a follow anyway.
No, it was a fun episode. It's our personal preferences, really, and yeah, you as long as you ride your bike, anything is fine. And you know what? It's also the fun part about fixed gear cycling is new trends are stupid. Some makes the jump, some don't, but it's nice to see new stuff.
That's true.
All right, and this is pretty much all we have time for today. Everything we discussed today will be in the show notes on the blog slowspinsociety.com. You can find us on our Discord server. The invite link is also in the show notes, or by sending us an email at this address, slowspinpodcast@gmail.com. And our personal Instagram accounts, I go under @_Paul_U and Fabian @fab.ism. Sharing the podcast with your friend is the easiest way to support the show, or by giving us a good review on the platform of your choice. If you get value out of the show, why not consider putting value back in by visiting our Patreon page, patreon.com/lesbiansociety podcast, and join the community, where pledging at any level will grant you access to the pre and after show, which is around 40 minutes of extra content per week. We are now at 13 Patreons, bringing us closer to our monthly goal and more privileges for every tiers. Thank you so much for your support. The music for the show is Lovely Swindler by Amaria, and the illustration is at Juliet Joe on Instagram. Alright, we'll see you guys next Monday. Bye bye.
Bye everyone.